Okay, you guys, listen. The Super Mario Jamboree website just went online in Japanese, and it just revealed so much information about this game. I am more excited for this Mario Party than I've ever been for any Mario Party in the past. And that's coming from somebody who's played every single Mario Party here on the channel for Mario Party TV. So, make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to be playing this game when it comes out. Multiplayer. We're going to do online, we're going to do local, we're going to get salty, we're going to have a lot of fun, so we're going to check that out. But let's go through the website, because I've gone through every web page that is up right now, translated it using Google Translate, and there is a lot of good info here. They're bringing some stuff back from old games, and there's just so much content. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with the minigame portion of the website, specifically, and there's a lot of stuff about minigames obviously, but specifically they have this little video player that does a montage of just a handful of minigames, but these are the only ones that we really get to see played out in any substantial fashion, so let's start with that. The first minigame is a one-on-one duel minigame, which is an incredible minigame based off of mind games and reactions. So you see Mario and Bowser Jr. here, they're both standing on a switch, and there is a hand that rotates around and slaps around if one of the players ground pounds down. And if the one player ground pounds down, the other player has to react and jump over it, right? But you can also fake it out and just jump without actually ground pounding and get the opponent to jump early and then trick them and get the ground pound in. So that's going to be an amazing minigame just based off. I love things like that where you really have to play the opponent just as much as you're playing the minigame itself. So big fan of that. After that, we see a montage of 5-player minigames, which is very weird. We see Bumper Balls comes back, we see Leaf Leap comes back. So this also confirms that, and Shy Guy says, this does confirm that we're getting retro minigames in this game, which is awesome because there's just so many good ones in the past. This series has been going on for, oh my god, I'm getting old, over 20 years now, and there's a lot of classic minigames that just, you know, if you're going to introduce a minigame that's similar to it, just bring the same minigame back. You know, no need to reinvent the wheel. Besides that, the 5-player minigame stuff, it's a little weird. We've never had minigames with 5 players before outside of Bowser mode in Mario Party 10, which, you know, is certainly a game mode in a Mario Party. But I believe these 5-player minigames apply to a very special mechanic that is in the board gameplay that we'll go over later. But basically, it seems like the 5th player is either a computer and all the other players are humans, or vice versa, that one player is a human and all the other players are computers. Based on the board mechanic that we're going to go over, I think it's most likely a computer is the Mario. And you can kind of tell Mario's special because his balloon has his icon and Shy Guy Says, and his bumper ball has his icon. So there's something to that there. We also see a 1 versus 3 minigame where the 1 has to hide in one of 4 holes, and then the 3 players have to split up and try and guess what hole he went into. And that one's really interesting because a lot of 1v3 minigames get kind of ruined by communication. Like if the teammates just communicate with each other, then the one player has a distinct disadvantage, right? Because the 3 players can plan out and split up basically. The interesting thing about this though is, you know, as long as the one player is also in the same room and can also hear the communication, it turns kind of into a mind game. Like, are they telling the truth? Are they all going to pick a different hole, you know, or not? I do think the one player still has a disadvantage there, but it could be interesting just depending on the dynamics of how the team of 3 decides to work together, right? We also get some footage of the Yoshi minigame. It's very cute. Looks like you're just going through an obstacle course. I think that's going to be a pretty popular minigame, and it looks fun. I mean, the Yoshis don't move that fast, but it's still all about being optimal with your movement, cutting corners, making sure you're jumping over obstacles, things like that. And then we get some 8-player minigame action, and this is a special mode in the game that we'll go over later. But 8-player minigames are coming back, and the only time we ever saw that was in Mario Party 7, which is so cool. I love that mode in Mario Party 7. Now, I want to tell you guys right now, it is not the same as Mario Party 7. You can't, from what I can tell, you can't play 8 players in the board gameplay modes. This is more akin to the river survival stuff that was in Super Mario Party. But it's cool to just have a co-op thing going on with 8 different players. I mean, it just seems like a cool party thing to do. I'll definitely be, hosting some get-togethers to mess around with this, so I'm looking forward to that. And then we get some gameplay for the new online Koopathlon mode, where you're competing with 20 players total. And you're playing online, so it's kind of a survival mode. There's 2 different types of minigames that I can tell. There's either single player minigames, like this baking minigame, and you earn coins depending on how well you do, and those coins will help you advance in the Koopathlon mode. And then there's survival minigames with the fake Bowser, which confirmed the website does name him as a fake Bowser, where your goal is just basically to survive Bowser. So that Koopathlon 20-player mode is going to have 2 different types of minigames, and we'll go over that again when we go through each mode in this game. We get some more footage of just typical 4-player minigames, the new stuff. There's one where you have to find checkpoints or flags on a space planet, if you will, and whoever finds the most checkpoints wins. There's one where pieces of sandwich are falling on top of you, and I assume you just have to avoid the sandwich pieces. Looks very delicious. We've got another survival minigame where you have to avoid I forget what the guys are called from Mario Odyssey, but they're blowing wind gusts at you, and you have to just avoid the wind and also avoid sliding off because you are on a giant ice block. So that's going to be a fun minigame. And then we have one of the worst, most unbalanced free-for-all minigames of all time. I don't know why they brought this shit back. And I think this was in top 100 as well. This is such an unfair minigame because if you're on the side, either on the far left or on the far right, you get first crack at whatever row is coming in from your direction. So whoever the 2 players are in the middle are most likely shooting at nets that are already full, especially that middle row where the points are worth 2 instead of 1. So I don't know why they brought this back. This is one of the worst free-for-all minigames of all time, just based on the fact that it is supposed to be a free-for-all, and yet 2 of the players have a distinct advantage. This might as well be a 2v2 minigame if you split the 2 teams apart, if you will. I don't know. This is trash. I can't believe they're bringing this shit back. Okay, so that basically does it for the super zoomed in video, but there are other minigames that they were showing off here. So the first one is the obstacle course that we saw in the trailer. Really cool minigame. I think it's going to be one of the most popular minigames in this game, in Jamboree. It's all about avoiding the lightning. So if you touch the lightning, you're out. The other obstacles don't necessarily KO you, although I think that Chain Chomp might do it. But it's interesting because the course will also react to you or the players. So if you're in the front, you can kind of set traps for the people in the back. So you kind of want to go ahead and stay up there, but not too far behind. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it's actually a treadmill, and the electricity is not moving. But if you get caught behind something and you fall too far behind, you'll hit that electricity in the back and then die, right? Or lose the minigame. And if you go too far ahead, you'll hit the electricity in the front and also lose the minigame. So it's a survival minigame, a lot of obstacles. It's a little slow, but I think it's still going to be fun, so we'll see how that goes. And then we've got a 2v2 minigame where you're cutting steak. This is really cool. This is a really cool idea. So basically the goal is you and your teammate have to both agree on a position to where you're going to cut the steak. And the team that cuts it most equally into 2 equal parts wins. So at the end of the minigame, it'll tell you what the ratio is. And if your team cut it more equally than the other team, then you will win. So that's going to be a fun minigame just as far as communicating with your partner and tell them, no, move over just a little bit, dude. Like, I got, just, if you move over just a little bit, no, just angle it just this way, just slightly. And there's a lot of different ways you can cut it, just, 50-50. I think it really just depends on trying to work with your teammate and split it. So that's a pretty cool idea for a minigame. And then we've got another 2v2. This is going to be a really hard one. So this is kind of in the tradition of some old 2v2s where you have to work with your partner and you both like kind of put a puzzle together. The thing is, this one is based off of shadows, and each player has a different assortment of like half of the shadow piece that they could put in. So you both have to figure out how the shadow is made and what piece of yours could possibly come together to make the shadow. This is going to be a really tough minigame to learn, honestly. At least at the beginning, right? And you'll have to just kind of memorize what kind of shadow is what. And I mean, you'll be playing on a different. Sometimes you'll be playing in a different slot, so you have to kind of know what puzzle pieces you've got, and your partner has to do the same. So this is. Honestly, I think this is going to be kind of tough as far as minigames go. Next up, we've got a... okay, I'm not a big fan of these minigames where you're just like walking around taking a picture of something. Because it's kind of luck just as far as whether you look in the right place or not sometimes. But basically, every player, you're given a picture in the middle of the screen there. And you need to take a picture as accurately as possible to match the picture in the middle. And I think you can also zoom in from what it looks like to try and match the picture as closely as you can. And then finally, we've got an obstacle course minigame. Basically, the players are surrounded by 2 giant log obstacle contraptions that serve as walls. So you can't move out from between the 2 logs, but the course is scrolling. So you have to avoid the obstacles while being confined into that tight space. I like it. I think that's a cool idea. It gets really annoying with these kind of minigames. Traditionally in the past, you can kind of get ahead of other players or fall behind. And sometimes the players can be their own obstacles. And so the fact that it's also confined in this game is going to be very frustrating to deal with other players, right? As you're all trying to move around and avoid stuff. But it's definitely going to be a fun one and a very salt-inducing one, in my opinion. Staying on topic with the minigames here, there's also another part of the website that has a gigantic, just bunch of minigames scrolling across the screen. And as you can see, there are some classic minigames returning. We've got Stamp By Me from Mario Party 4, I believe. And then we've actually got Domination from Mario Party 4, the greatest mashing minigame of all time, possibly. We've got a bunch of other new minigames. I mean, just so many different minigames that are featured here that are new. There's one that looks like a kind of like a triathlon, so you're going to be doing different legs of the same race. Rather, every player is going to be doing 3 different legs, probably. So like you're swimming, and then there's a tricycle section, and then there's probably something else going on. So that's going to be a cool one. I mean, shoot, there's so many things, and there's not a whole lot you can tell from just a screenshot, but there's a lot of content here and a lot of variety. So I'm really excited, especially the fact that they're willing to bring back old minigames that are classics. Except for 3-throw, fuck that minigame. It's not a classic, it's a abomination. Okay, now moving on from the minigames, let's talk about boards. So there's a whole page dedicated to the game boards in this game. They have a whole blurb about each of the 7 boards. So it is confirming, just based on the website and what it says, that there are 7 boards. So I don't believe there's any hidden boards besides this, but if they're hidden, we wouldn't know about them, right? But they are making a big deal of the fact that there are 7 boards. And every board has its own little video here. So we'll start with the Wiggler board. The whole gimmick with this one seems to be that you can make the Wiggler move in the middle, and it'll change the pathing that you can take. And I think the Wiggler will serve as kind of a shortcut to get around the board. There's also board events where you can make honey and get coins for that. There's a new item called the Wiggler Bell that'll move the Wiggler for you, and which the Toad does in the video, and actually probably gets to skip ahead in the board as far as his movement goes. So, you know, basically confirming that yes, there are going to be board-specific items. I think that's really cool. We're going to talk about items later, by the way, because there is a lot of content and a lot of items that they've already confirmed in the game. They've put a number on it, it's over 30. So kind of crazy. Anyway, moving on to the next board, it's the race car one. Yeah, we get to see some gameplay of how, yes, you can get the quadruple dice block. I believe that's also the board specific item for the race car track. You also get coins for going around the lap. You get 10 coins. So that's pretty cool. When you complete a lap, you get money just like in Mario Party 1. I don't think they ever brought that back in any other Mario Party. Well, other than Superstars, obviously, because Superstars remade those boards. But I think the entire idea behind this board is really just go as far and as fast as you can. Zoom around. So, I mean, it's fine. I don't think it's going to be my favorite board, but it is going to be a nice change of pace. The next board is the Goomba Volcano board, and forgive me, I don't know the names of these in English off the top of my head, and I am not going to look them up because I am just too excited to talk about this and get this video out. So the Goomba Volcano board, it does talk about how, yes, the tide will go up and down, and you can see that the Goomba will explode and toss hot lava, magma, bubbles, whatever you want to call these little guys, onto spaces, and that will actually make those spaces a trap where you lose 3 coins for even passing that space. So this is our first confirmation that yes, there are traps in the game. This is actually more of like a board hazard, but yes, you can get trapped basically and have to pay 3 coins for even passing over one of these spaces. Besides that, it does make a big deal about how with the tide going up and down, obviously there will be parts of the board that you can or can't visit depending on the tide. It doesn't really confirm how the tide will move. It might just be on a set cycle of every 3 or 5 turns. That's what I would anticipate, but I can't really tell or confirm that based off this video. And then we got the shopping mall game board, which there's a lot going on here. There are a ton of board events. There is a lottery kind of board event. It really resembles the lottery from Mario Party 4 actually, because you do a lottery for a colored ball, just like in Mario Party 4. But it looks like the rewards are just coins and no stars. There's also another feature of the shopping mall where you get stamps. So if you fill out your stamp sheet, which it's 4 stamps, and you visit each stamp station and go back to the, I guess, the stamp people, whoever, you know, the guys that are keeping track of the stamps, you will actually get 50 coins for that. That's a ton of money. And I mean, even you can tell on the bottom of the screen here, all of the players have, well, a lot of coins. 3 of them have over 100. So, you know, if one of your complaints, which is kind of one of my complaints about the newer Mario Party, is that they're too nice and they hand out too much money, yeah, I don't think that problem's going away. But you know, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different, and it, you know, the pace of the game does pick up because everyone has money, so everyone can do stuff. So I'm not hating on it. I'm just making a note that, yeah, I think the game still gives out a ton of money. And then finally, we got the board for Bowser. This is confirmed to be an unlockable board. You can't play this right off the bat. And it does state specifically that it is a fake Bowser in the middle, right? So he's glowing purple, and it explains why Bowser is playable. But, you know, Bowser is also a stage hazard. It's not the most elegant solution, but for the Bowser fans out there, I am glad that they made it work and that Bowser is still playable. Anyway, Bowser is surrounded by a treadmill that you can swap the direction of. Bowser also spawns Bowser spaces nearby on that treadmill. And there's some kind of board event where you can get, probably with timing, either a ton of coins or a Bob-omb or nothing. There's also a board event with a Mecha Koopa where you jump on it and destroy it, I guess. You might get money for that. We don't get to see what exactly the point of it is. Alright, and then our first retro board is Mario's Rainbow Castle for Mario Party 1. It looks pretty similar to the original as far as the layout and the amount of spaces. I don't think it's identical. I haven't counted it out, but it is quite similar. One neat thing that they did do is introduce a level of verticality to the clouds, so they're not all on the same level. It just makes it seem like, yes, you're actually climbing up the castle from the bottom. So I think that's kind of cute. Other than that, yeah, you know, basic Mario's Rainbow Castle. You can get Toad at the top whenever someone buys the Toad. Bowser will come around. Well, fake Bowser will come around. But something else that's interesting is it looks like when Toad is in the front, the item shop, which there is an item shop now, will be run by Koopa, and when Bowser is on the top of the castle, it'll actually be run by Kamek. So I anticipate there'd be different items for buying that, which is amazing. That comes straight out of Mario Party 3, where Toad and Koopa Kid ran the shops, and you had a random chance of getting one or the other, and they sold different items. I just love that. I love the item variety. I love not knowing exactly what you'll be able to buy from the shop. It just introduces a little bit more randomness, and it makes it more interesting. And finally, we got Western Land, the GOAT board. I'm sorry guys, but this is like the best board of all time. And they're bringing it back for Super Mario Party Jamboree. And it looks beautiful. I mean, you got the train choo-chooing. The camera angles, which is something I've also noticed as well. The camera work that they use for the board gameplay is a lot more dynamic than we're used to in Mario Party. It just makes the game look a little bit more interesting, and I don't know, it's just a nice little touch as far as making it seem more lively. We don't get to see much besides just the train going around, but you know, it's Western Land, and it does definitely look like there are fewer spaces on this board. And it's also been confirmed in the past that like the skeleton key gate on the upper right part of the map is actually different. Now it opens the other way, and you loop back up instead of it just being a shortcut. So they've definitely tweaked things about this board, probably for the better. So I'm really excited to play this one. They also showed a video of just gameplay, like just typical board gameplay, as played on the Wiggler map. You know, just taking turns, playing a minigame. The new minigame looks interesting. You're just trying to survive as long as you can without touching a spiny guy, whatever these ant guys are called from 3D World, yeah. But they also show what the end game result screen will look like. So they showed, like, they actually showed the graph of like stars and standings as the game progresses, and then See, this is what I don't quite get is I think it skips the bonus star section. So then it shows the bonus stars and how they affect the standings, and then it zooms in on the screen on the player that ends up winning. I don't really like how they did this. It seems like it's not that climactic. The reveal, which is one of my favorite things about Mario Party, is just getting to the end of the game and everyone feels like they have a chance to win, and not knowing who won, and the reveal like popping through like one by one. And this one, it just kind of shows you on the graph first and then zooms in on the player. So not how I would have done that. One other thing that this video does show off is that the star is just kind of floating there on its own. There's no character giving them out, although there's a dialogue box for Yellow Toad, who does seem to be the host. Yellow Toad's not actually there. So it's a little weird. Honestly, I would prefer that there be a character there if you're gonna have a dialogue box. Just a minor nitpick, but I don't know. I think that's a little weird. All right, so as we're looking at board gameplay, there are a couple of mechanics that were introduced, and the big one, the huge one, is something called Jamboree Friend. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, allies are back from Super Mario Party. Not in the same way as before, but they totally are back. So the way it seems to work is that you can encounter a character on the map. So in this case, it's Mario, just kind of chilling. Toad runs into Mario, and it seems to initiate a minigame. And if you win the minigame, you get to keep the ally. Like, he gets to help you out. So the interesting thing about that then is, one, all the players have a chance at winning the partner. Two, it seems like if you're the player that actually runs into the friend or the ally, you get a bonus to the minigame that determines who gets to keep the friend. So it's not guaranteed that you'll get the friend when you run into it, but you do have a strong advantage. In this case, in the Leaf Leap game, it looks like Toad got a +3 to the amount of leaves he was going to jump to. So that was kind of his advantage for being the one to initiate. The reason why you would want the friend, or what they really do in this game, is basically double everything that happens to you, which is actually insane. You can buy 2 stars at once. If you land on a blue or a red space, you will win or lose twice the amount of coins. And if you go to the item shop, you can actually buy 2 items at once, which is absolutely insane. That is such a strong mechanic, and I really hope that there are multiple chances for you to get a friend, to where basically everyone has a chance to get one at the end of the game, because that seems like such an immense advantage. I could see it being very polarizing for players that really enjoy the metagame of Mario Party, because holy crap, having double of everything, except for rolls. I mean, it doesn't seem like you roll 2 dice blocks, but I could be wrong. It doesn't show the 2 characters rolling dice blocks at once. But that's kind of ridiculous. It's even more powerful than allies ever were in Super Mario Party, because all they really did was add a couple of rolls to your turn, and help you out in certain minigames. In this one, it's literally you get to do twice of everything, it seems like. So I don't know. I mean, it's a neat idea, but at a glance, it seems like it's way too much. And then they have a whole section on the website for items, which is amazing. It's honestly my favorite part of Mario Party. My favorite Mario Parties are the ones that have the best item metagames, that have the most item options, that have a lot of different powerful items that you can use to help you win the game. We can see a few, like a seashell item that shows up on the Goomba board, and I believe it's used to raise the tide or lower it. So there is an item that lets you kind of manipulate that on a whim. And then we can see a couple of new items here in the item shop for the shopping mall board. There is an item that actually doubles the cost of anything a player wants to do on their next turn. So if they want to buy a star, instead of 20 coins, it's actually 40. If they want to buy items, all of the item costs are doubled. So that's a really neat item to use for someone who doesn't have a whole lot of money or just barely has enough to maybe buy a star. Psych, you're going to have to double that price. There's also an item box, like a warp box, but it actually takes you to the shop, which is neat. It's, in a way, it's kind of like the cellular shopper, except you get taken straight to the shop instead of being able to shop wherever you want, which I totally understand, because the cellular shopper was one of the most busted items ever. The ability to just have a item shop in your pocket at any time is insane. So I get for why game balance reasons they wouldn't bring the cell phone back, but there is a way to now warp to the item shop itself. So that's really cool. If you get to the item shop and there's nothing you really want, well, I'll just buy this and I'll come back later when maybe warp pipes, or sorry, golden pipes start showing up. And yes, golden pipes are in the game. By the way, custom blocks are back as well. They look a little different. It's the last item here in the row. And just in case you're wondering, the warp pipe puts you in a random space on the board. It could be anywhere. And then the exclamation block puts you on a random space with another player. So the pipe takes you to a random space. It could be anywhere. The exclamation mark takes you to a random player's space. And in the video, we can actually see some use of the hex. The hexes are back from Mario Party DS, you guys. And the description specifically states you can only throw them up to 2 spaces in front or behind you, not 5 like they were in Mario Party DS. So they nerfed it a little bit as far as your ability to, place them farther away or wherever you want. But I mean, as we can see, this is a 1-star hex, if you will. I'm not sure if they're called hexes still, but Koopa puts down a 1-star hex, and whoever lands on it will lose a star to Koopa. So another amazing addition to this game, just as far as the ability to trap players, and just one more thing to worry about as a player here. So really, really excited about that coming back. The video also shows Bowser using a double dice block that is golden, because it actually also gives you coins for what you roll. So not only do you get an extra dice block to roll, you actually make money off of what you end up rolling. So that's a nice 2-for-1 item. Gonna be probably a staple in the item metagame for Jamboree. There is a kind of scrolling inventory of items that are going to be in the game. This is not exhaustive, because I believe it said there was 35 or 36 items total that are going to be in this game, which is, I think that's the most items that have ever been in a Mario Party. That even surpasses Mario Party 3, I think. So we haven't seen all of the items that are available, but there's some classics like the Dueling Glove. The Chomp Call does the same thing. It moves the star. You got the double block, you got the custom block, you got some board specific items, you got the golden pipe, you got the item block shop, or item shop block, like I was describing earlier. The Wiggler Bell, so board specific items as well. There's a lot to like here. If you are a fan of item play, I think this is going to be some of the best we've seen in a long, long time. Okay, and then moving on to the Bowser Island portion of the, I guess the main menu. So basically, the Koopathlon online mode, the competitive thing there, is going to be relegated to the Bowser Island. There's a nice video of how it works, and you're kind of racing against 19 other players. So basically, you're competing to get coins in one-player minigames, and each coin is worth 1 space on the map that you're racing on. So the more coins you get, the more spaces you're going to traverse, and depending on how many laps, it doesn't seem to say how many laps they're completing, but whoever finishes that number of laps first will win. It tracks how every player is doing after these Bowser minigames. So again, there's the one-player minigames where you're getting coins to traverse as many spaces as you can, and then there's the special Bowser minigames where there's survival mode minigames. And depending on your placing in that minigame, you get to move forward a certain number of spaces. In this case, if you're in the top 5, you get to move 40 spaces, and 6th through 10th, you get 30 spaces, and so on. I'm excited for this mode. I think it's going to be really, really fun to compete against so many other players in minigames like this, and be able to play with 19 other players at the same time in these survival modes. I mean, it's going to be crazy. The only thing is, my God, can Nintendo please figure out how to do rollback netcode, or just have a good experience online? Because the reason I don't play Mario Party online is because I cannot stand the lag. It ruins so many minigames for me. So I'm definitely going to be still excited for this mode and give it a shot, especially because it's unique, right? It's not just something you could play offline anyway, but I really hope this thing is not laggy. And then the other thing that's featured on this Bowser Island of sorts is a cooperative mode, where basically you're 8 players fighting against the fake Bowser. And it looks like you're on kind of an overworld map, and your goal is to split up and collect items and bombs that allow you to attack the Bowser and defeat him. So this is definitely a cooperative mode. It reminds me of, it's kind of like this game's version of River Survival or something like that, where, you know, you're all working together against a common AI enemy, or against the clock, I guess. So the goal is to take down Bowser's HP within a certain amount of time. And you do play mini games all cooperatively. In this case, for example, 3 players are collecting apples, and then that crate of apples turns into an empty jug, where 2 players are then tasked with filling that jug with apple juice, and then the jug has to get delivered on the far right of the screen by 3 players carrying the case to the truck. It's a very interesting mini game. Like, it just looks cool because you're working cooperatively, even though technically it looks like you're all in a different area. It flows in a way where, like, you're all working off the same treadmill. So really interesting concept. And then, yeah, depending on how well you do, you can pick up an item. In this case, Mario can choose between a hearts, bananas, or a speed booster to either trap the Bowser and slow him down, or get like a speed boost to move around a little bit faster, I think. And you also have to avoid the Bowser on the overworld because he can blow fire at you and stuff. To be honest with you, I'm not super excited about this because I'm just not interested in working together with people in Mario Party. I'd rather beat them than work with them. But, you know, as far as a cooperative thing goes, this is pretty interesting, and there's a lot going on here. So, you know, we'll see how good this mode is, and if it's got that much replay value. Anyway, moving on. Alright, so Minigame Island is back in Jamboree. And a lot of people anticipated that, yes, this section here was going to be where the minigames were played, like the different side modes specifically centered around minigames, and absolutely that is the case. There's 5 different ways to play. Okay, so first off, there's the daily trial mode. That comes back from Super Mario Party, yes, and Mario Party Superstars. I think they both had this, but basically every day the minigames will change. You can play 3 minigames. It's a little minigame pack. So, you know, just your daily login bonus basically is try 3 minigames together. And then there's a tag match where you can just do 2v2. You can also play this mode online, so you can go online with a friend and try and beat other teams of 2, which is kind of a neat idea. Then there's the Try Hard Survival minigame mode, where you are tasked with beating a random group of 3 players coming out on top. You each get to try and vote on the minigame that you will play. And if you win, you gain points. And I think the points are then used for like an online ranking system potentially. Because you do have a letter grade and there's a level up system with that. So that's definitely the try hard mode for anyone who wants to do online minigames. And then next is, they call it the challenge minigame battle. So basically there's these minigames that are eligible for the what they call the Jamboree friends thing, right? The allies. However, in this mode, the ally or the AI computer is not there. It's just a typical 4-player challenge. The interesting thing with this, though, is it looks like you're playing multiple minigames back to back, and you're keeping a running tally of points depending on how you do in each minigame. So, for example, in this first one, you pick up a chicken, you get a point. In the next one, if you avoid getting hit, you probably get points, or at least avoid losing points. And then there's this DK minigame, which again is interesting because DK is playable, so I'm not sure what happens if someone's playing as DK in this minigame. Maybe Diddy Kong shows up, I don't know. But you get points for every correct combination of shoulder buttons, which this minigame looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of just minigames that have the shoulder buttons for whatever reason. And I'm a fan of DK, so this is going to be one of my favorites. But yeah, it's kind of a cool idea. Just you play a bunch of minigames in a row, and you tally how you do based on every single minigame. So it's a cool test of skill. And then finally, there's the free play mode. Now let's real quick. If you look at this free play mode, they do show off the selection screen. They do show off the selection screen for all of the minigames, it looks like. And the label at the top does say all, so this is apparently all of the minigames that are in the game. And if we count it out, what's 8 times 14? Hold on, let me pull out my calculator. I'm not good at math, guys. 8 times 14 equals 112 minigames. So when they say there's over 110 minigames, that means there's only 2 more than 110, but yeah, there's 112 minigames. As we can see, some of the minigames are locked or not unlocked yet. I don't know if they're hiding those for a reason from us or what, but there's a few different minigames that we recognize from the past, and there's a bunch of new ones. I'd say vast majority are new minigames, so that's exciting. I'm not going to go over every single minigame here. That I feel like that's a topic for its own video that I'm not sure I want to do, but if you guys do want to see that, I'm sure, let me know in the comments below. And that basically does it. I mean, that's everything I was able to find that looked interesting and looked like new, except for I almost forgot the big reveal that they accidentally seem to have revealed. Pauline is playable. That's right, you guys. We have either hidden characters or unlockable characters or just characters they're not ready to talk about yet. But Pauline is in this game. We can see her in a few different minigame screenshots that I will put up on screen here. She looks just like she looked in Mario Odyssey, which totally makes sense. It's exciting. I mean, who knows what other characters we might get. They're definitely holding something back, and I'd be surprised if Pauline is the only character that they just haven't announced yet. I mean, I'm thinking Diddy Kong, I'm thinking, I mean, shoot, I don't know. I do know one thing. There was some speculation about whether Chargin' Chuck was a character that was playable because he was in the reveal trailer. And I don't believe so. I think he's actually an obstacle in that cooperative Bowser mode. He's just an obstacle on that overworld where you're fighting the fake Bowser. But you know, who knows? Maybe he is playable. There's some call-outs to past playable characters that don't seem to be playable in this one, like Pom Pom, who was playable in Super Mario Party. She runs the hardcore, you know, challenge minigame mode online where you just have to beat whoever you're randomly matched up against. She cuts the cord for your parachute, and yeah, if you lose, you drown and die basically. So you know, I think they're trying to, at least, if not every character is playable, at least they're in the game in one capacity or another. But we'll see. I think there will be more characters. But yeah, Pauline is for sure in this game. I mean, we've seen it. So we'll see what else they put out there. We'll see what else is in store. There's even a part of the website that is inaccessible. It literally has a question mark on it instead of being clickable. So who knows what else is lying behind that section, but we definitely don't know everything about this game yet, even though we know a lot now, including what the majority of the minigames are going to look like. So I'm super excited about it. I really can't wait to play this game. I'm going to be playing it a ton when it first comes out. So we'll be streaming it live, and we will definitely be uploading videos to this channel. So if you like watching a bunch of guys get really mad at each other in Mario Party, definitely click that subscribe button, follow us, watch all of our old content, you guys. We've played every single Mario Party on this channel, and that includes Mario Party E and Mario Party Advance. Those videos haven't been updated or uploaded yet, but we have played those, as well as everything else, including the handheld games, even though they suck generally. So if you love Mario Party, you know, Mario Party TV is the place to be. So thank you guys for watching this. Let me know if you're excited for this game. What aspect of this video got you most excited for this game? Is it just domination coming back? Are you a mashing fiend? Are you a Pauline stan? Are you a simp for Pauline? Let me know, dude. I'm down. I mean, she's a cutie, right? But I'm here to beat my friends at Mario Party. That's what I'm interested in. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.